back up. Let's see if it's working this time. Sorry, Vin. Repeat everything that you said.
I don't know really where it cut off, but defense is key. Defense is key here. I know the last couple of cycles, that's where I focused out all the money at. Chicago, you don't got to worry about it because they already did that for me. We have the quarterback in Trubisky. That's first and foremost. So everybody can take, that sigh of relief knowing Chicago is sticking with Trubisky, but you can have your relief now and regret it later. But yeah, I mean, we have two great running backs. We need depth there outside of them if one of them does get hurt, but that's not a hard fix. That's not a lot of money spent there. Receivers they're solid for now. Could use a little bit more depth, talent-wise. And offensive line is decent. I believe there's just one of the guard spots. I think it's right guard. Is Jermaine Ifedi, I believe, is who we have slotted in as a starter as of right now. But the other four spots are solid. So we don't have a lot to work on other than just trying to build rivalries with everybody outside of Green Bay because that's already there. Now we got to go get them going with the Vikings and Lions even more so.
Vin, what's your expectation like moving into the cycle? Do you expect to compete early? Do you think you might need to rebuild a little bit?
Nope, compete early. We don't ever look to rebuild. We have a top front seven, a great secondary to go with it. Our defense should keep us in the games to go along with our solid offense. And if Trubisky does struggle, we're not worried about it. He'll bounce back, but our defense will keep us in range of the playoffs at least. And then we'll let Trubisky unleash from there on out.
How much time are you going to give Trubisky? Because he'll be in the last year of his contract in the first season, right?
Yep, he should get that fifth player option. Depending on what the money is for that, we'll see how that goes and how he plays. Foles is strictly a backup at this point. It's not really a competition. We're gonna trust in the high overall pick of Trubisky and everything we gave up to get that, and we're gonna give him every opportunity he can to prove he was worth it and to prove he is our guy.
All right, I don't have anything else. That's pretty good.
Yeah, good overview on the Bears there from Vin Moss, Bond, and Cooley. So we're going to move on then to the next team, and that is the Detroit Lions. Cobb was the coach last year. Had some good seasons, some bad seasons with that Lions team, and we have a new owner this year who's going to be the captain, a former Steelers owner. So, Bond, let's do a rundown of the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, so the Lions, actually pretty well rated. I haven't looked at their team very much, but some good offensive players, a couple wide receivers, Kenny Golladay and Marvin Jones Jr., both in the upper 80s. Danny Amendola still an 80. Matt Stafford, 83 overall, so it could be a potent passing attack. Two good corners in Justin Coleman and Desmond Trufant. Trey Flowers is there, who dominated last cycle with the ridiculous pass rush. Let's see, Frank Ragnow. It's a pretty well balanced team. Jamie Collins at outside linebacker. Some good playmakers on both sides of the ball. Oh yeah, Jeff Okudah. Yeah, that defensive backfield. So they've got Justin Coleman at 84 overall, Desmond Trufant at 83 overall, Deron Harmon at safety at 80 overall, Tracy Walker at 77, Jeff Okudah at 76, Darrell Roberts at 75. The defensive backfield's loaded, it looks like.
Yeah, that team's taken a lot of former Patriots in there. So it's going to be interesting to see if that works out for them for the cycle. So,
who got this team?
We got the captain here. Got the Detroit Lions, Cooley.
Okay. Well, I was the Lions in the OMFL, so I know a little bit about those guys. But let's see what captain did. He came in. He was the Steelers, but I don't remember. Was he them for the whole cycle?
I believe I was.
I think he was. His overall record 53, 58 and 1, just under 500. He had 3 winning seasons and was 1 and 3 in the playoffs. So he certainly can improve. The Lions are an interesting team to build. I mean, they've got, I think they drafted a cornerback first. Didn't they get the guy from Ohio State?
Yeah, they got Okuda.
I think they get him. So, and they've got Slay. They've
No, they don't have Slay.
oh yeah, he left.
Cool. I just went over their defensive backfield, Cooley.
I was on a work call. Damn. That's why I didn't know who you got. Didn't know who it was. All right, that's all I got.
Okay, Captain. So tell us a little bit about how you're feeling about this team.
Well, I mean, we got the stalwart at quarterback under contract for, I believe, 5 more years. 32, relatively young at the QB spot. I would say the biggest weakness is the offensive line. I'm looking at their guards rating 68, 64. That's probably not going to cut it. A little bit weak at right tackle too, but I am, kind of excited about the defense and how it can progress there. So we got a window with Stafford. I mean, that's where everything starts. So we'll see how that first season goes. It'll be interesting switching over from the AFC to the NFC as well. Kind of interested in seeing how that dynamic changes as well.
Your expectations going in.
Is there any one player that you are really excited about on this team from maybe a usering standpoint, or just to be able to play that maybe you didn't have last year with the Steelers?
Kerryon Johnson's pretty interesting at running back. Kenny Golladay at wide receiver. I think we got some dynamic things going on there. So Trey Flowers could be something fun to watch off the edge. I don't usually use edge rusher, so it would be nice to kind of let him go and do his things, and I can kind of patrol the middle of the field like I usually do.
I just noticed this, Captain. You got DeAndre Swift too from Georgia, rookie running back. That running back field is pretty good. I saw Bo Scarborough there too. So a good balance of some shifty guys and Scarborough with some power running. Not a lot of
I'm
speed
sorry.
though.
Can you repeat that?
Yeah, I was saying you had they had drafted DeAndre Swift out of Georgia, so it's a good 3-headed backfield with Swift, Kerryon Johnson, and then Bo Scarborough, a very SEC backfield.
Yeah, and it's nice to always have guys like that when maybe the injury bug hits or something. So we'll see how we can kind of face those dynamics, and maybe see who we can use on third down and short yardage situations. So, something, like I said, I'm a Steeler fan, always been a Steeler fan. So this is a new team for me. So it'll be some learning going on as far as it goes for me.
So what was the motivation? I don't remember the ratings. What was the Lions ranking in your top 3? And what was the motivation to put them on the ranking?
It was a third ranking. I believe I had Steelers, 49ers, Detroit Lions. I threw the Lions on there. I got a buddy up in Detroit, so caught a few of their games while he was watching. And usually offline, I like to take a team that's struggled recently and see what I can do. And it'll be interesting to see what I can do against other users. So
yeah,
really making sure I'm getting that scouting done and actually having a plan, and seeing you. Like I said, we have that window with Stafford 4 or 5 years, and seeing what we can do there. So it'll be fun. Keep me a little bit more engaged as far as the team building goes, and I'm excited about it.
excellent.
Cool.
Yep.
Well, welcome to the NFC North. Welcome to the NFC. It'll be you got a good division here to welcome you in there. So we'll move on to the next team, and that is going to be the Minnesota Vikings, and that is going to be Sprite taking over in the NFC North.
That's right.
He went from, I think he started off in the AFC, was in the NFC, back in the AFC.
He's been all over.
Like probably back for the he's been all over at this point. So, tell us a little bit about this Vikings team, who's probably in cap hell.
I can't see any salary cap info. I was actually trying to look for the contract on this website for Stafford, but it doesn't let you see it. But obviously they've got the Kirk Cousins contract. I believe this is the last year of that contract. Or did he sign an extension in the offseason?
Extension.
He did. So we'll see if Madden has that. But kind of a top-heavy team. Harrison Smith, 95 overall. Dalvin Cook, 91. Michael Pierce, 91. Defensive tackle. Adam Thielen, 90. Obviously, Stephon Diggs is gone from this roster. He's in Buffalo now, I believe. But a little bit of a defensive-heavy roster. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, 6 out of the top 10 are on defense. The other 4 on offense. Good special teams. 78 punter, 76 kicker. Always important. Defensive or offensive line looks pretty decent. So another team that is a little bit older. Like you said, the cap situation should be fun to deal with. But some good weapons. Irv Smith at tight end. Tajay Sharp looks like the second wide receiver. Kind of a disappointing career for him in Tennessee, so he moves over. Justin Jefferson, the rookie out of LSU, will be fun to play with. So a decently balanced team. Again, should be ready to compete. The NFC North is going to be fun, man. There's I think all 4 teams, maybe not the Lions, but at least the other 3 are ready to compete right away.
Yeah, I mean that Vikings team with Cousins is always going to be interesting, just because of how that contract situation is, and it will be interesting to see how Madden deals with it. Whether it's a contract that, if Cousins doesn't perform, can be, he can get out of it or not.
Yeah.
Cooley, why don't you talk to us a little bit about where Sprite was at the end of last cycle?
I don't know. He was out of the league, so I couldn't go back and look. I don't remember how he was doing.
I know he was
but
with the Chargers for a couple seasons there at the end, but
kind of with the Chargers, and then Priest took over, so I couldn't really see what his overall record was. It didn't have it on there anymore, but I will about a couple of things you guys just addressed. I was reading somewhere that Madden's kind of fudged a little on the cap situations because some of those teams are in really bad cap situation, and it would make it almost impossible to get you to year 2. So I think they've kind of fudged a little bit on some of the caps to make it easier.
Yeah, they don't do like the rolling rollover years or rollover money and all that stuff in the game. So
yeah. So I think they're making it a little easier there. And I did also read that this is probably not exactly what all these guys want to hear, but it'll mean team building will be more important. That I think this is probably the lowest rated division in Madden for the next overall. These 4 teams would be the lowest rated out of any of the division. So team building is going to be pretty important, but it also means if you get a leg up, then you can it's a playoff. If you're playing well, you playoffs are might be easier to make if you can dominate your division.
That's a fun point to think about too.
Playoffs.
Sorry, just real quick. That's cool. That point you made about the teams maybe being the lowest rated division. It might be the best team builder rather than the best player that turns out to kind of run the division. So that could be interesting to look at.
So Sprite won't win it.
Ouch. And one other thing with the expanded playoffs being in this Madden, winning a division, no matter how good or bad the division is, winning that division is going to be key. So, to get that home field. So, with all that, Sprite, I know this is a kind of a surprise for you. So tell us what little you may know about this Vikings team and what you want to say about them.
Well, first, I'm going to address Cooley. I know he's probably a little upset and just a little bit of butt hurt because Tennessee Kentucky's ass just about every year. I understand that he's upset, so I'll let that slide a little bit. I don't know a ton about Minnesota other than I hate Cousins because he's got a noodle arm. I'm very worried about that. I'm pretty excited about seeing Justin Jefferson. I know his jump's pretty good and catching traffic's pretty good, and I throw a lot in traffic, so he might play well for me. So, and they got a corner too, didn't they? In the first round, was it?
I was thinking that. I
Was
was
it
actually
Mike
trying to look
Hughes?
for that guy because I
Was a
thought they
dude
drafted
from
somebody in the
TCU,
first round.
wasn't it? Yeah, I can't remember. Gladney.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, he's got good size, I think, and he's got good speed and
Yeah, 91
acceleration.
speed.
So yeah, so it's going to be a challenge cap wise, I'm afraid, but maybe I can make some moves. You never know until you see what Madden's done with the numbers and stuff to see what you can do with the cap. But I'm excited. I've played with Vin a few times. I'm not sure about captain, but I'm excited about playing these guys in this division. So
All right.
that's it.
No, that's
Okay.
good. Roll Tide.
You shut your whore mouth.
Okay. So if that's it then for Sprite on the Vikings, we'll just announce the last team. It's obviously the Green Bay Packers. The owner wasn't able to make it with us today, so I'm just going to give a quick rundown on them after Bond and Coley do their thing. But the owner for the Packers is going to be Riley, our Rams owner from last year. So,
Yeah.
Bond, why don't you tell us a little bit about the Packers?
All right. Packers are always a fun team to look at. Obviously, start with Aaron Rodgers, who's still rated really well. Kind of screwed whoever was going to take this team because they took Jordan Love in the first round instead of giving someone that's probably worthwhile. And Brian, I know you remember. I remember you talking about it, but do you remember what Love was rated? I know you said you were looking at him when they did the rookie ratings. Oh, I got it right
So
here.
he's 71 overall.
Yeah.
He's got athleticism wise, he's like on par with Burrow and Tua and all them. He's got a little bit of a stronger arm than both of those guys as well, which was interesting. But I believe when the devs came out, he was only normal dev,
Yeah.
as opposed to some of the superstar that those other guys were. So I think that's would hold him back as a prospective long-term quarterback in Madden.
So it's a team obviously built to win now, pretty highly rated. They've got 5 guys 90 plus: Bakhtiari, Devontae Adams, Aaron Jones, Jair Alexander, and Kenny Clark. A good balance of players. Looks like offensive line could use some improvement, but there's weapons. Obviously, Devontae Adams. They have Funchess as the second highest rated receiver at 79 overall. Defense looks pretty good with Jair Alexander, Kenny Clark, Zadarius Smith, Preston Smith, Darnell Savage. So it's a team that's built to it now, and it's a little bit of an older roster, so it might be a team looking to rebuild mid-cycle, but should be able to compete in year one.
Yep.
The Packers would definitely be the favorite if you're just looking to no matter who the owner was. But Riley, pretty impressive last cycle. He had the second most wins in the entire league. He had a 76-36 record. Had 6 out of the 7 winning seasons, which was the second most. Only one team had a winning season all 7 years. But his issue was he was only 1-5 in the playoffs. So really good in the regular season. He won that division almost every year. The NFC West with the Rams kind of dominated with Aaron Donald. Had those good receivers, made trades to get those big time receivers out there. and won a bunch of games. I think kind of seems like he flew under the radar because he didn't really have a lot of success in the playoffs. But you know, the I mean, he won one less game than the person that won the most. So pretty good cycle, you'd have to say, for him.
Yeah, I think underrated is a good way to put that. That NFC West was a fun division to track with B there, and then Shiloh having some good years at the end of the cycle, and then JLM who with the 49ers. So it was a really competitive division. So for him to win it 5 out of 6 years is super impressive to me. So I'm interested to see how he does with a little more of a veteran team. Might need a little bit more roster turnover than he had with the Rams.
Yeah, and I think he had a lot of success early on with Todd Gurley running the ball, and then shifted, like Cooley mentioned, into a little bit more of a passing offense. So he can do both. And I think now with how Aaron Jones is rated now versus how he was rated when I took on the team this year, it's really going to make that offense very balanced, and I think that he can have a lot of success with that. Because we know that he can run a running offense, he can run a passing offense. So,
Yeah, Brian, isn't he like a 90 overall or something?
90
Yeah.
overall for Aaron
Yeah.
Jones.
Yeah,
I've
91
saw him
speed,
talk about that.
good agility, can catch it out of the backfield. He's going to be a good player.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing this year is going to be 100% cap after the first season, because after the first season you have Kenny Clark, David Bakhtiari, and Aaron Jones all up for contracts. That's 3 of their 5 90-plus overall players all up for deals after the first season. So there's definitely going to be some decisions there. I don't know if he's going to be able to sign all 3, but yeah, that's really going to be the key factor, I think, for that Packers team.
This is a really interesting division. I mean, basically just because a lot because of the way the teams are rated, but with these, they're good owners in here this time that had good years last year, and I look for. I mean, unless Riley, comes out the gate and is really good at the start, just because he has a little better team to start. If he builds on that, he could be tough to take down. But if they can keep it, competitive from the start, this will be a division that's, it'll be a nine wins, a win every year. It'll win the division. I think. 'Cause I think it'd be really competitive.
Well,
And
looking
we
at
have 4 owners.
Go ahead, Brian.
And I was going to say we have 4 owners here who have all had playoff appearances and are kind of all new to this division.
That's exactly what I was going to bring up. All 4 guys that are coming in. I think Sprite made the play. You made the playoffs last cycle, right, Sprite?
I've never made the playoffs.
Oh, I think your team made it the year
Great
after
sign.
when Priest took over.
Yep, I built this team
Yeah.
for him. So,
You did, because you had that really good quarterback and built up a pretty nice offense, and then he kind of went with that.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's 4 really good users. 3 in Sprite, but oh, it's fun. But it should be fun, man. I'm excited to see how this division goes. The North was pretty competitive last cycle, if I remember right. Outside the Vikings
No, it wasn't.
didn't do well, but the other teams kind of went back and forth a little bit. Oh no, Jump dominated. Never mind.
Yeah.
Well,
Jump,
for wild
Jump
card spots
dominated
at
the
least.
division. Yeah, Jump dominated the division, but me and Tub, I think, both had 2 playoff appearances apiece, maybe 3.
Yeah, Lions and Packers were both there every year trying to, wild card.
Mm-hmm.
And that's NFC wild card was 11 wins, last cycle, pretty much every year. So
yeah.
All right. Do we want to do some predictions for how we think this division might go for the Madden 21 cycle?
I think you should.
Yeah.
All right.
I predict it'll be the worst.
Say that again. You were cut off a little bit.
I can predict who will be the worst.
Oh, okay.
Billy Bird, slow your roll.
Yeah, let's see about that one.
I didn't say any names.
Well, let's start with the actual people in the division. Vinmos, what's your prediction for who's going to own the division in Madden 21.
Bears.
Bears.
Oh,
We're not worried about no aging Rodgers or Stafford or Kirk Cousins. He likes to throw to the other team anyways. I'll take the worst quarterback in the league, or not the league, but the division, and we're gonna roll with that because we have the best team surrounding him.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Confidence there.
Sprite, what's your thought?
I don't think it'll be Chicago. I think Riley probably. I think
Okay.
Riley will
With Green Bay.
win out. Yeah, with Green Bay early. Just Aaron Rodgers. I mean,
Past his prime.
yeah, but he's not in the Madden. He's
Yeah.
still
Not in Madden.
throw it on a
That's the
dime.
key.
You know, so but yeah, it'd be mine for. I'm gonna win games this year. I'm gonna win games, and I'll make the playoffs this cycle. So,
Not if we have anything to say about it.
well,
there are extra playoff teams. Remember,
Yeah, that's
got
okay.
more of a chance.
That's okay.
He's got more of a chance.
I see Captain is muted from the voice chat, like the thing. So if Captain, if you're listening, if you hear and you want to jump in, just go ahead. But we'll go Cooley. What is your prediction for the division?
I mean, I've started betting horses here recently, and I'm terrible at it. But
So don't take
No.
your word for anything.
well, I'm just saying, if you were handicapping it, Riley is definitely going to be. I mean, should be the pick based on his cycle last year and how well he played, and then he's got the best rated team to start with. Now, that whether that ends up being, he's the overall winner through the whole cycle, I don't know, because this division's really going to depend on team building, because I think a lot of these teams will end up changing over due to cap or age. But man, I mean, Vin, he won his division. Captain, didn't he win his division?
He did, I think, twice.
I mean, so you've got guys that know how to play. I'm excited to kind of see this division. I purposely didn't pay attention to who got what teams. It was kind of a surprise to me, even though I could have known. So it's, I mean, even though it was listed, I just didn't read it. But it's I'll go with Riley, but man, it won't surprise me if any of these guys, and even the Vikings, in OMFL, I was in this division, and the Vikings really at the end they made the playoffs and had a chance, and it just basically took they got a new quarterback, and they kind of just fit the team to. This is their defense is pretty good. I mean they have they have the ability to be good, but if you're making me pick, I have to say Riley.
Brian, what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm gonna go Riley for first season, maybe two, but I think that the Bears, Lions, and Vikings all have the potential to make this a pretty even cycle after that first season or two. I think that Vikings are going to be, I think, a longer rebuild. It's going to take Sprite maybe 3 or 4 seasons to kind of get that roster in shape. But I think both Captain and Vin have the opportunity to challenge season 1, certainly. And I think season 2, season 3, I think they have the potential to be in the driver's seat because I honestly don't think there's a whole lot that they need to do to have those teams be in position. And I think, like Captain mentioned, that offense is basically set up with that 3-headed running back situation and Stafford and Galladay to kind of be set for the long haul. Just a matter of keeping that defense afloat. So I say Riley early on, and then it's kind of a crapshoot after that.
The drafts and the sim season will be really important those first 3 years in this division, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. I agree with you, Brian. I think Riley's got the advantage early on just because that roster is probably the highest rated. And playing him, I got to play him, I think 3 or 4 times last cycle, and know a little bit about how he likes to play. And I think the roster is going to fit him pretty well with how he likes to play on offense. But agree with you, Cooley. Whoever drafts the best in the first 3 seasons, the 2 play seasons and the sim season, I think will end up turning around and dominate the division, or not dominate necessarily, but have the best success in the division toward the end of the cycle, the last 3 or 4 seasons. So I could see this being kind of a Packers-led division early on, and then either any one of the other 3 teams taking over, or the Packers continuing if they draft really well. The last half of the cycle.
Yep.
All right. Do we have any final
Okay.
thoughts? Any final comments?
Yeah. Just keep track, y'all. Said Packers.
Vin's got bulletin board material.
I already had the Packers circled. 1, it's a rivalry. 2, it's the Packers, and I hate them with a passion. And 3, all 3 of you picked them.
Well, Ben
I love Aaron
already had a
Rodgers, so
Freudian-
I'm always going to pick Aaron Rodgers.
I
Yep.
hate Aaron Rodgers with a passion, but I respect him because he's great.
Vin already had a Freudian slip when he said that Trubisky was the worst quarterback in the league, which, I mean, it's true. He knows it. So,
No. That was a slip up. In the division, rating wise, stats will say otherwise after year 1.
It's going to be fun, man. I think you guys are going to have a great time in that division. It's going to be, I hope anyway, but I think it's going to be really competitive, and
I think
should
so,
keep
yeah.
guys engaged throughout the whole cycle, hopefully.
hopefully the game cooperates with us. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
the league's always fun, but, sometimes we just have to work around some things, and, hopefully
We don't ever
May helps
restart
us
after
this
year
time.
1.
Yeah, I forgot
Yeah.
about that.
Well, I'm sure we'll talk about the as we get closer to the release, the patch notes and all the stuff that the Madden developers released on Monday, with all the stuff that they're looking to add, and who knows if any of it actually gets into Madden 21.
Brian, when's the next reveal?
So the next
And what are we
reveal is
doing?
going to be Thursday evening at 10 p.m. Eastern, or around about 10 p.m. Eastern. We started a little later today, but anytime between 10 and 10:30, we'll probably